Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Players Own YouTube channel and welcome back to the Premier League prediction show for game week 7. It's flowing past. Already 6 weeks down, had a lot of great games, some questionable predictions from last week from myself, and some more great games to come from this weekend. Let's quickly look back to last week's predictions. As I said, not too well. I only added 6 of our prediction points to take our total now to 41 on the season. Wasn't too great. Got one perfect score in the Bournemouth-Southampton game, but all in all, really struggled. If you're new to the channel wondering how the prediction system works, the point system works, it's 3 points for the correct scoreline, 1 point for the correct result predicted, and obviously 0 points for neither. But it's a chance for you guys to follow in the comment section now. But let me know how you go every weekend, what's your major predictions. Great chance to interact with you guys in the comment section, and I absolutely love that. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like, and join us here. We've got podcasts weekly, prediction shows weekly as well, and all the reaction content here on the channels. Absolutely cannot wait to get into this weekend's predictions. Massive games for Chelsea, Manchester United, and can Arsenal continue their great form as well. With that being said, let's get straight into our predictions. We're in the south of London for our first game of the weekend. Crystal Palace take on Liverpool in what is a massive game for Crystal Palace. They've played okay at home this season, 2 draws and the 1 loss there, picking up 2 of their 3 points, but they're still without a win this season. A disastrous loss on the road last time out versus Everton. A good start with Kay opening the scoring, but a 2-1 loss, not ideal at all for a team that I had very high expectations for this season. The formulas that are there, just taking time for Oliver Glasner's side to sort of come together and start functioning on a high level. And I think if they're going to get anything out of this game here, you're looking at Mateta, you're looking at Eddie Nketiah and Eberechi Eze. If they all connect and all seem to link up and flow well in the final third, you will see good things happen. I think the hole that Michael Olise has left this side is obviously massive. We're seeing what he's doing at Bayern Munich, but we cannot underestimate the difference that not having him there is going to make. I think this game here, I expect Kamada to potentially be dropped to add a bit more insurance in midfield alongside Wharton, because we know how good Liverpool's midfield is. They obviously come off the back of a workman-like 2-1 win away at Wolves last weekend, and then another workman-like result midweek in the Champions League, 2-0 there as well versus a very talented Bologna side. So they're showing a different style about their game. A few showboating top wins early in the season when they dominated games. They had that loss to Nottingham Forest, and they've turned around with just grinding out more results. And I think that we're going to see that more under Arne Slot, a different emphasis to Liverpool's game. But what we've seen across the last few weeks since that poor performance and the loss to Nottingham Forest is Mohamed Salah's on fire. And I think, simply put, he will break this game apart for Liverpool. I expect them to cruise it. I think Salah is going to be the big player. He will separate the two sides. And I've gone with the Liverpool 3-0 win. I think right now the defence is so solid. And going forward, if Salah's in the form he's in, this Crystal Palace backline has no chance. I've gone with Liverpool 3, Crystal Palace 0. We remain in London as Arsenal take on Southampton. And I only see this game going one way, and that's in favour of the Gunners. Had a crazy comeback result last weekend of a very challenging Leicester City side who like to make it difficult in times such as keeping possession and being a bit more defensively solid. That's a characteristic that this Southampton side lacks. With that being said, though, I still reckon the Arsenal defence, that 3, that diamond, that triangle, which I talk about so much, Saliba, Gabriel and David Raya will be massive for this side. Keep Southampton out. Don't give them a sniff in this game. And as the game goes on, you know how Arsenal build into games. With the repetitive fixtures, we saw a little bit of it last season. It's about getting momentum, getting a roll on. That's what Man City do so well. Across the last few years, that's what Liverpool do so well. And I think Arsenal will adopt that strategy a lot in the Premier League across the next few games. Just keep the momentum rolling, keep the performances coming. Another great victory midweek in the Champions League to beat PSG. The good feels will keep going. They've been at home now for 2 weeks. I think the confidence is there. Yes, they've had on Tuesday as well, so a bit more of a rest to come into the weekend. I just purely think the defensive solidity will not allow Southampton any avenues through. We know how leaky they can be defensively, and that's where Arsenal are going to get at the side. Look to the likes of Fernandes, Ugochukwu, and also Downs in midfield for Southampton. If they can be a little bit more structured, solid, careful with their possession, maybe Southampton can take the game late and make it interesting. But I just feel like this Arsenal side right now is in a hot vein of form, and they'll continue to fire. And as such, I see them win this game quite comfortably, 4-0 for me. I just cannot see a way that Southampton score against this Arsenal backline. And to be honest, Arsenal with the confidence that Saka has and Havertz goal scoring, Trossard off the bench, is too much for the moment. So I've got an Arsenal 4-0 win. Brentford and Wolves are the next game here from the G-Tech. Brentford a very solid point versus West Ham. West Ham came with a much improved performance and Brentford held on. Third consecutive game which they've scored in the first minute, and it's been pivotal to their style of football in recent weeks. The first time they've actually held on and got something from a game where they scored early. And I think yet again, a quick start will be really, really important in this game here. Brentford at home, we know that they can grind out results, get famous results and get the better of teams. And we know how vulnerable Wolves can be. And I think a really quick start will be vital. I look to Kevin Schade from the flank yet again to be an important, pivotal player. Johan Visse obviously missing means in Burma's the guy up top. He is going to take a lot of the mantle. And I think the performance these two players hold up top with their pace and their creation holds the key for Brentford here. I think you need to score more than one goal. You might need to score 2 or 3 goals to get the better of this Wolves side. And despite how both teams normally operate more defensively, I expect this game to be a bit more back and forth. Both teams going after it, both teams desperate for a win, especially a Wolves side who, once again, made it so difficult for their opposition in Liverpool, but ended up losing a game 2-1. But I look at those forward players, Strand Larsen, Lamina. You know, you got the likes of Matheus Cunha coming off a wide area as well. Bellegarde as well. These type of players, I think they're going to be pivotal in this game here. The changes and problems down back with lack of defensive solidity is there to be seen. They just got to outscore teams. They can't just score and hold on, especially against a Brentford side at home, which is so difficult to restrain their attacking football. I think it's going to be a battle. Who can score more goals? Who can take their chances? Who's willing to throw themselves out there and commit numbers forward? I think in this game, we're going to get a back and forth entertainment fest. I've gone with a 2-2 draw for me. I think both teams are going to go hammer and tongs this one here. Wolves desperate to get their first win of the season. Brentford, we know how good they are at home. As such, I'm seeing a 2-2 draw. Look for Andre as well for Wolves, that deep-lying holding midfielder. He's going to be pivotal in this game for Wolves. If he can play really, really well defensively and cover off that back four, we might get Wolves' first win of the season in this game here. We'll move up north. Man City play Fulham in our next game. It's going to be a very, very interesting game, this one here. Man City needing to bounce back. 2 draws in a row in the Premier League. Yes, to 2 difficult oppositions away from home. But with Pep Guardiola's side, we expect so much from this team. They bounced back midweek versus Slovan Bratislava, 4-0. But again, it didn't feel like the traditional Man City where they go dominate a game and win 5, 6, 7-0. I think this game here is the chance for them to show what they're all about. I expect Phil Foden potentially to get involved from the start. But if not, Bernardo Silva and also Jack Grealish are performing at such a high level right now. And I think, yet again, whoever plays in the wide areas of Man City right now seem to be doing the damage. And I think these 2 players will hold the key, especially trying to feed Erling Haaland, who, yes, he's still scoring goals, but it feels like a bit of a dry patch for a guy that scores so frequently and so much. And in recent years, Fulham travelling to Man City has not gone well at all. They have struggled. They concede in patches. They get red cards. They just never able to hold on. They're a really dangerous side away from home against many teams, but really, really struggle going to the Etihad. In this game here, you've got to look to Anderson, Bassi, Sasa Lukic, Andreas Pereira, that sort of four, that box there to really defend compact, really defend nice and deep, and deny little spaces that Bernardo Silva, Grealish, potentially Foden, Doku and Savinho will like to work into. It's asking a lot, but these guys have to perform 10 out of 10 type performances to get any sort of result in this game here. I'm going to be on the side of a bit more caution in this game here. I'm going to Man City 3-0 win. I think Fulham have what it takes to make it interesting and difficult, but in recent years, we've seen what happens. They capitulate at the Etihad, so backing City in 3-0 and Haaland to get back on the score sheet. We move back to London as West Ham take on Ipswich, which is going to be a massive game for West Ham and their season. I'm still yet to see a clear attacking identity from the West Ham side. So far, the shining light this season has been Thomas Souček coming into this side and making an impact every time he steps on that pitch, whether it be starting games or coming off the bench. It was massive for them in the last game, yet again getting on the score sheet, and has sort of been involved in every single attacking movement for this side. But attacking is the key word. All these players brought in the promise of something different under Lopetegui, but the attacking football's dull, it's boring, it's slow, they look leggy in a lot of games. And yes, it was improvement versus Brentford away from home, but I want to see more and I want to see it quickly. I'm big on the pressure here at West Ham, and I think we just got to see more from the key players. Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen, not good enough in terms of how many touches they get the ball, when they get on the ball, what they do with it. And I feel like if there's going to be any chance, it has to be now. Ipswich are going to work hard. They've got a fantastic draw at home versus Aston Villa last time out. And Delap has truly put himself on the scene. 2 goals in that game. A great goal from his own half to scored the equaliser. He's been dangerous throughout this season. And I think simply put for Ipswich, if they want to cause some problems here for West Ham, we know how vulnerable they can be on the transition. We know how Chelsea got at them. Play on the break. Sam Morsey, break the ball up, allow Hutchinson to feed the ball to Delap and let him do his work. He's so physical, so quick and clinical in front of goal. And I think they could cause a lot of problems here for West Ham. I would not be surprised if Ipswich picked up all 3 points, but I'm predicting a 1-1 draw. Both teams not blessed going forward. Ipswich can turn it on, but we haven't seen as much of it this season. But with Leif Davis, Sam Morsey, Murray Hutchinson growing into his role this season, and the former Delap, I like their attacking options more than West Ham. I'm still waiting for West Ham to turn it on this season. I'm not convinced of them yet, and as such, I'm going with a 1-1 draw here in a very interesting game here at the London Stadium. Our next game sees Leicester host Bournemouth in a very difficult game to predict. Leicester, off the back of a fantastic 90-minute performance versus Arsenal, where they thought James Justin's heroic could have got them a point at the Emirates, but chaos late in that game sees Arsenal get all 3 points, and it is a bit of a symbol of promoted teams last season and this season not being able to get over the line in those sort of key games. And I think it takes a hit, to the confidence to give away that good position, the points away from home. They're going to have to rebound and go again here against a very dangerous Bournemouth side who come off the back of a 3-1 confidence-boosting win versus Southampton, who got their mojo back a little bit. So it's going to be very, very difficult in this game here. I think this game could be won and lost in the midfield. I like, and I've always loved the work of the Bournemouth midfielders, their industry, but also their smarts, their skills, and the ability to do the two-way running. I just think the Leicester midfield is a bit flat almost. It's Winks, he's just a hard worker, and also Skip, another hard worker. Yes, they have the ability to play those passes, and yes, Leicester are very comfortable in possession, but I just think when Bournemouth turn the ball over, when they have their stints in possession, they look a lot more dangerous. I think where it's going to be won and lost is there. If these midfielders can put in a big shift for Leicester, but also can show a bit of creativity on the ball and smarts going forward and trying to get at this Bournemouth side, I can see Leicester getting a result. They're very dangerous at home. Jamie Vardy, an experienced forward that can get at this very young Bournemouth backline, so that's where they could win it. But I just like Bournemouth midfield more. Cook and Christie in there with the creation of a Tavernier at the 10 or a Justin Clive at the 10. They've just got a bit more about them. So it'll be very interesting to see how that all plays out, that dynamic in midfield. I back Bournemouth in this game because of their dynamic in midfield. If Anderson gets his opening goal last time out as well, that confidence from there as well. I love Antoine Semenyo, dominated the game versus Southampton. He takes control of key moments. And I think when big moments come around this game here, I back Bournemouth in to take their chances and use the confidence and momentum from that win versus Southampton to win this game of football. It's going to be tight. It's going to be a battle of that midfield area, but I'm backing Bournemouth in here. I've gone to 2-1 Bournemouth result, carry their good form from their last win at home, and get their season up and running in season 24-25. We move up to Merseyside for our next game. Everton host Newcastle. And Everton, a fantastic win. 2-1 last time out versus Crystal Palace. A real Sean Dyche home victory. The key players been the centre halves, Tarkowski and Branthwaite being back. You got Dwight McNeil creating on the counter-attack with a piece of individual brilliance. It felt like a proper Sean Dyche performance from that great patch we saw for them last season. I think coming to this game here versus Newcastle, if they want to take anything out of the game, it's slow the pace down. Make it really slow. Stop the game when you get fouls. Foul on the counter-attack. Prevent Newcastle from playing with pace, playing on the break. Letting the midfielders zing that ball around the middle of the park. That's going to be the key for me. When I look at Everton, when they play their best, it's allowing their defence to set up. It's, creating from set pieces with Dwight McNeil and using Iliamin and Dye on the break or on the counter-attack or in a wide area and just prevent Newcastle from controlling the game with how they want to play their style of football. You look at that front three, Barnes, Gordon, Jacob Murphy, it's a lot of pace. It's a lot of running in behind. If you make the game a bit more back and forth, Newcastle will blow you out the park. And that midfield battle is going to be key. Two physical midfield teams. You look at this Newcastle with Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali now introduced alongside Joel Linton. They're going to be physical. They want to win the ball back. They want to transition. They want the high-paced game. Everton can be physical as well, but they'd rather the slow pace. So it's going to be a battle of how each team gets control of the game. Can Newcastle make it, dictate it to be a high-paced, high-intensity game? Or can Everton make it a slower pace game, grind the game out, and make it a match of key moments? Because if it comes down to key moments, Newcastle can be clinical, but they haven't shown that in a long time. Looking at Newcastle quickly, great result on the weekend, 1-1 versus Man City. They'll take confidence from that. They look a bit more like Newcastle from a few years back, where it was not making any mistakes, looking very solid defensively, fine giving up possession in the hope of getting the points and getting the victory. Yes, it was a draw, but it was a lot of steps forward for Eddie Howe's side, and Anthony Gordon getting in the score sheet as well gives him a lot of confidence. I think they'll carry that confidence from the all-round performance, Anthony Gordon's performance into this game here. I back them in hard. They've got the more quality, they've got the talent. 3-0 Newcastle win for me. Everton would make it difficult, but in the end, I think Newcastle right now, they're going to start their season. This is the springboard to start their season here, and they're getting a massive win away from home. We go to Villa Park next as Aston Villa host Manchester United. And I think it's going to be a real one-way affair here. You'd think this would be a big game, but with the confidence that Aston Villa got from that midweek Champions League win over Bayern Munich and the style of football they play, it's just the ultimate mismatch here. Aston Villa are a workman-like team. The midfielders Tielemans, Onana, when you get the likes of Ross Barkley in there as well, and the creation of Morgan Rogers and Jacob Ramsey and even Philogene introduced in the Champions League. They're running, their back and forth effort, their intensity, their pace of their game is going to be too much for Manchester United. Manchester United midfield right now looks really flat-footed. They got outrun by Spurs, they got outworked by Spurs, and yes, United look better on the counter-attack, and it could be an opportunity, an avenue into this game here, but I just think that the work rate of Aston Villa and the quality right now of Aston Villa is going to be going to make Man United look second rate. I think looking at Man United, really, really poor result. Bit of a crisis already early in the season due to that 3-0 loss to Spurs. It might work out in their favour because Aston Villa can have a lot of the ball. Aston Villa want to dictate the game at home. The counter-attack is going to be United's best avenue. It's been their best avenue for probably the last 4 to 5 years. Rashford up top, Bruno Fernandes hitting long balls, Casemiro and Ugarte is probably the two holders in front of a back four. It could work out for Eric Ten Hag's side, similar to how it sort of worked out last season with McTominay scoring the winner. There is an avenue, there's a world where United get a big result here. They need the result, but I think Aston Villa take that confidence from that midweek Champions League victory over Bayern Munich, one of the most hot teams in world football, and they carried over this game here. I think they dominate Man United off the park. They just play them off the park. Ball movement, intensity, work rate, they just beat United in all areas of the park. And I think I see them winning this game 3-0, coasting it, and the pressure continues to build in this United side and Eric Ten Hag. We move back down to London as Chelsea host Nottingham Forest. And for me, this is the pick of the games on the weekend. It's going to be super entertaining. Chelsea off the back of a fantastic 4-2 victory over really poor Brighton side. But my God, Cole Palmer's performance is ridiculous. Yes, I've seen some great Cole Palmer performances, but those 4 goals out of this world, it is chaotic for Chelsea right now, let's be honest though. Defensively, it's not so solid, and if Brighton had taken some chances, we're probably looking at a 4-4 classic there in that game. But they got the result. They're showing great signs in attacking areas, and I've got to be honest, the Sancho-Jackson link-up is something I never thought I'd ever be saying, but it's working right now for Chelsea. That front line is making things happen. The movement is fluid. The play looks great past halfway, but defensively, there is chances. And at home, yes, they've dominated games, but a Nottingham Forest side is set up perfectly under Nuno Espirito Santo to get something out of this game here. You look at how Forest got that point away to Brighton, who play very similar to Chelsea in many regards, and that's why it was just fire versus fire last weekend, but a bit of fire versus ice this weekend, as Nottingham Forest will take that counter-attacking approach, take that deep-lying defensive action, and try and break against Chelsea to try and get the better of this side. And when you've got players like Hudson-Odoi, Chris Wood, Antti Elanga, Elliot Anderson, who can break, who can make the big pass and can make the finish, it's going to be a really intriguing game to see how both sides shape up. I think it's going to be a real battle of who takes their chances in front of goal and who makes the most of their time in possession, their time in control of the game, their chances in front of goal. It's going to be the classic counter-attack defensive style versus all-out attack, throw numbers forward style. And it's going to be really, really entertaining. That's why I think it's going to be the best game of the weekend. I am going to back Chelsea at home off the back of a 4-2 win. I'm going to back them again, 4-2 over Nottingham Forest. There's goals to be had in this game here. 2 teams that are really, really entertaining to watch. 2 teams that have goals in them, but 2 teams that could concede, especially with how attacking Chelsea are. They're going to be leaky at the back, but they're also going to put this Nottingham Forest side under a lot of pressure. So going with a 4-2 Chelsea win for me to continue their great run of form, especially in front of goal. Our final game takes us to the South Coast as Brighton host Spurs. Another game is going to be super entertaining. 2 teams that go hammer and tongs at each other, will like to attack, want to play in tight areas, want to play great football. It's going to be a great spectacle in the eye. Brighton obviously coming off a really, really poor performance versus Chelsea. They played their style, they just got beaten. And I just think, simply put, they've got to finish more chances in front of goal. They're not going to create as many chances as some of these big boys here. So coming to this game versus Spurs, take your opportunities. Use the start of the game to establish yourself. I think Brighton sometimes take too long to build into games. I think go from the start. Get at the races early and really make an impact in this game here. Spurs come off a fantastic 3-0 win at Old Trafford. That's your springboard for your season. That's the pressure off Ange for a few weeks. You focus on the football now. Brennan Johnson in fabulous form. I think Dejan Kulusevski has been killing it this season at sort of attacking midfield and attacking 8 type position. Fabulous performances from him. I think in this game here, the difference maker might be Dom Solanke. Both teams are very attacking. We know that. Both teams really lack that clinical edge in front of goal. I think Dom Solanke, with his finishing, with a bit of confidence behind him now after a few goals in recent weeks, could be the guy. I think he bags both goals for Spurs. I reckon they win this game 2-1. And his team, the confidence they get from that Old Trafford victory, the form of Dejan Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, and Dominic Solanke, I think it'll be too much for Brighton. Brighton will look to use the wide areas. Matoma out there has been killing it this season. You've got Adingra coming off the bench. There's danger there. Jorginho Ruta can also drift out wide. But I just think for me, the centre forward, the better of the two centre forwards is Dominic Solanke. He'll be the difference maker. He bags both goals, and I back in Spurs 2-1 in this game here. With that being said, ladies and gents, that brings our predictions for Match Week 7 to an end. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What's your favourite game from the weekend? What matchup are you looking forward to? What are your thoughts on my predictions? Let me know that in the comment section down below. As I said at the start of the video, I love interacting with you guys. It's probably the best time of the week, the prediction video, because we get a bit of back and forth in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, guys, please make sure to smash a like on it. Subscribe to the Players Zone channel for more videos like these, and press that post notification bell so you know when we upload our podcasts and videos here in the channel. With that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the weekend's Premier League action, and I'll see you guys for the video or podcast very, very soon. Till next time, guys. See you later.